river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me. Run through.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have Lily Penter with us, and she's from Sutton, and she's a children's author. She's just starting out, and boy, what a book she's got. It's called Losing the Bubble, and it's book one of the Green Bough series. Take a look at this cat. Look at this cat. Now the story revolves around the cat, and Lily knows her stuff. She's got two cats, so she knows. Lily, welcome.
Thank you.
You just started writing, right?
I just started publishing. I've always written.
Yeah.
I wrote as a child, nonstop, sort of Dick, Jane, and Sally type stories.
Yeah. Did you grow up with a Dick and Jane?
Yes,
I hate to date myself.
Yes, I did.
My grandfather was a sales rep for Scott Forsman. That was the publishing company.
Oh, okay.
Dick and back then.
I've
seen once in a while a Dick and Jane book. So
yes, they're republishing them. I know.
Oh, good. So that doesn't make us dinosaurs, right?
No.
No, but they were easier to read than some of the little kids' books. Ask Me or something like that. Little books. They're pretty easy in a way. Maybe some are easier than the ones we had. I don't know. But anyway, this is about your main character. Tell us about Hank and everything. Tell us about it without giving away the ending.
Okay. It's a science fiction time travel story, young adult. My protagonist is a young man named Hank. He's 15 years old. He lives in Western Massachusetts, small town.
Wouldn't be Wilbraham, would it?
No, it's based on Sutton, but I moved it across the river.
I grew up over there. Okay.
Yes. He's sort of your average kid. He's a bit of an underachiever, aggravates his parents by not caring about school and doing his homework. He has two very close friends who live next door to him, a brother and sister, Jane and Ben. And Jane, he sort of has a crush on. They've been friends since, they were tiny, but now that he's 15, he's got a bit of a crush on Jane. And when the story starts out, it's one evening in September, and small town, rumor's been flying around that there's a stranger in town who's kind of popping up at strange places, at the school playground, at the library, at this little center store, and no one knows who he is. So Hank becomes anxious about Janie because she is out running. She's an athlete. She's out running on the cross-country trail. And he decides to go down to the cross-country trail and meet her because he thinks she doesn't know that there's any danger. If there is, no one really knows. So he heads down to the trail and decides, it's a loop, so he decides to run from the opposite direction that he knows Janie always runs. And he gets sort of, as he's running, he's sort of annoyed with Janie because he's out there running in the night and stumbling over trees and things, and he's not much of a runner. And he stumbles and stumbles again. At one point he stumbles and sort of falls off the edge of the trail and down an embankment, hits his head, gets up, and when he gets up, he is in 1789.
It says 1786?
1786, excuse me. Yes, thank you. I could read, right?
That's okay.
Yes, 1786. So he's in the same small town that he lives in, but it's, 200 years earlier. So the story goes from there where he is adopted or taken in, more or less, by a farm family, and he becomes involved in their lives. He has no idea what happened. He doesn't know when he's going to be going home. Yeah. If he's going to be going home. He doesn't know if Janie was okay because he fell off the track, and he doesn't know what's happening. And it turns out that the time he's involved in, at first it seems like a simple farm life, but there's a whole lot of angst and trouble going on, and he has come into the midst of Shae's rebellion. And I don't know if you're familiar with Shae's rebellion, but it was shortly after the Revolutionary War when the soldiers who had basically abandoned their farms and gone to fight in the Revolutionary War came back. So So their farms are in disrepair. They're kind of broke because they got paid in scrip for that has no real value. But they owe taxes, which they can't pay because they have no money. And so these soldiers who were heroes of the revolution are now being thrown in jail for a debtor's prison because they can't pay their taxes, or they're losing their farms. And there's kind of understandably a great deal of anger.
Yeah.
And Daniel Shae he was a hero of the revolution. He has a sword that General Washington personally gave to him to honor him. And so people look to him as a leader, and a lot of the farmers band together and decide to take over the armory and demand that the courts stop, serving notices of eviction and that type of thing.
And this really happened.
This really happened, yes.
This is amazing.
Yes.
You must have done well in history class.
Well, I didn't know about this till long after I was in school. It was never taught.
Yeah.
But so he becomes involved with the people and the history, learning about Shae's rebellion and the really legitimate complaints that the farmers had, that the people in Boston didn't understand. The merchants, they didn't have that problem because they had dealt in cash and gold. So they felt, unlistened to, misunderstood. Sound familiar? And they proceeded they actually did take over the courts and lock people out so the court couldn't be held. So we have Hank back in this time. And
how did he meet the cat?
Well, the cat is a recurring character. Hank has two cats of his own in present day. He has a cat named Pumpkin and a cat named Schrodinger. And Pumpkin is an older cat. She's a plump little orange tiger.
Yep.
Very, sweet and easygoing. And when he travels back in time and he finds himself on a farm, he finds there's a big orange tomcat there, and the orange tomcat is named Pumpkin. And Pumpkin plays kind of a key role in the action, in leading Hank to, I don't want to tell you what, but leading Hank around on the farm. And so ultimately Hank finds himself back in the present. He doesn't know why or how, and he's really frustrated because he doesn't know what happened to the people he had come to love in the past. And they weren't famous people, so they weren't going to be in any history book or anything like that. He must have wondered
who his girlfriend was at this point. The poor guy.
I think, yes.
She just banded.
But, he comes back, and his girlfriend has, of course, she has no idea that he was looking for her. He doesn't, she was fine. She got home. She has no idea. And so he's totally rattled. He confides what happened to Janie and Ben. And being best friends, they believe him. Yeah. And they begin to research to try to figure out, what happened to these people and what was going on. And that's basically the story. Yeah. The green bough represents the rebels wore a green branch or a green bough either in their hat or in their pocket to identify themselves because they didn't have uniforms. They were wearing their old Revolutionary War uniforms. So they wore the green bough to say that they were on Daniel Shae's side in the rebellion. And the rebellion was important. This was a chance for me to include time travel, which I love, and history, which I love.
Almost high historical fiction.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
But it was the Shae's rebellion that convinced George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and the people that we needed a constitution, not just the Articles of Confederation, that we needed a strong central government, that states weren't equipped to handle this type of thing by themselves. So historically it was very important, even though it's at least in my time it wasn't taught in school. So
I bet you never thought that you would write an adorable book like this. How long did it take you to write this, Lily?
Well, in years, it took like 17 years.
The idea came 17 years ago.
Yes,
And then
yes.
they took little notes as you went on?
I started it, and then I put it aside. I got busy. My parents became ill, and I was taking care of. I had growing kids and my family and my
gosh.
parents, and just all that stuff got put aside.
That's happened to a lot of us baby boomers.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't, I would have welcomed him. My father said he's going down with the ship, and he did.
Oh.
I could have, why don't you go into assisted living together? I bet he'd be alive today. But the caretaker crashed, he burned out, passed out in their parking lot, going to
Oh.
see her in the hospital. He never came home. He would have, I believe. But assisted living, I know it's expensive, but look, just take the money, Dad, and use it with you and Mom.
Yeah.
Really. Some people don't see it like that, but I do. I'm like, okay, I've lived this far without your money in my life. Enjoy yourself. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
your parents, are they still with you?
No, no, they died. But I was glad I was able to get them to move to Sutton. They actually lived next door to me. They rented a house.
Oh.
So it was nice because I could bring them meals. When they had trouble, I could just run across the driveway to them. Of course, my daughter was a teenager then, and at one point my mom said to her, "Catherine, that lilac bush is getting so big I can't see directly into your bedroom anymore."
Oh,
She was
and your
like-
daughter's a teenager?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that went over like a hit.
Yeah. So-
What did she do about it? She make Mommy and Daddy clean it, color it down? No?
No, we just
You
block
kept it.
the window.
Oh, my God. Your kids were lucky to have them. So
They
far.
were, and they know that.
My kids were,
But busybody grandparents, it could be aggravating too.
I don't know.
sometimes.
We grew, mostly we were in Whitensville, then Grafton's, Worcester, and then we got back to Upton, but I don't know. It was, I don't mind moving. In fact, change doesn't bother me. I think it's fun. Have you stayed just about all your life in Sutton?
No, I was born in Connecticut,
Oh, what town?
Deep River.
See,
Deep River. It's on the Connecticut River down by the shore.
it's okay. So it's not near
Essex.
Canaan or Stanford.
Essex.
I used to live down there.
Oh.
The Merritt Parkway. I remember that.
That's way off to the.
Yeah,
the
that's
west,
the area
yeah.
I was living in. Now, Billy, how can people get a hold of your book, Losing the Bubble?
Well, it's available on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Losing the Bubble, the Green Bough. Is available on Amazon. It is in the C.W. Mars library system. So I know there are a couple copies at the Sutton Library, but there are a few copies. I don't know how that system, if they always get back to their home or not, but...
It'll be downstairs here in Upton?
Yes.
At the dedicated Upton authors? The
Yes, it
local
will.
authors? Yes, it will
Yeah.
be down there. When is the next one coming? I knew this was...
So this was a 17-year book.
Oh.
The next one is going to be more like a 3-year book,
Okay.
but it's essentially done.
Yeah.
And it's got to go through a final kind of cleanup
Yeah.
phase. And my husband is a very good editor. He's reading it for me, and he's not shy about saying, this doesn't make any sense, the type of thing where you have a character walk in a door and never come out again, or, that kind of
Yeah.
that kind of thing. When you've read it over and over again, you just can miss things that are really obvious to someone else. So we're at that stage. My second book involves Hank again, and it's called The White Feather. It's the second book in the series. And in this book, Hank, who's been having kind of a difficult time, he's in his sophomore year in high school, after his time travel, and he hasn't confided to his parents because he just doesn't feel like he can because it's so weird. But his father is a college professor, and he's going on a sabbatical to London to do some research. And he says, Hank seems just really tired, and so why don't you come with me to London?
Yeah.
It's over winter break, but take an extra week so we can have 2 weeks in London and just get away from everything. So, Hank thinks that's especially skipping school, that's a great idea.
Right.
So he goes to London with his dad, and, a similar thing happens.
Yeah.
He's very antsy. He's thinking, why did I travel in time? Is it because I stumbled? Okay, don't stumble. Well, that's not really that easy to do, but he's trying to, don't run. he has no idea. He has no idea if it will happen again.
Yeah.
So he's in London, and he stumbles over a panhandler. His legs are sticking out on the sidewalk. He's not paying attention. He stumbles, and when he gets up again, he's in 1918, London. And it's
Now we're up to 1918.
yes.
Wow.
Now it's near the end of World War I.
Yeah.
It's also when the first signs of the Spanish flu began to show up in both the United States and in England. And the story revolves around that.
A lot of thought goes into Lily's books, because would you really say, well, what age group? I know adults would like it too, but children's author, what age group do you think they would be willing to start at? Because this is, to
A
me,
lot of words.
What do you think?
I'm thinking like sort of like tweens.
Tweens, yeah.
Yeah.
Preteen, like?
Yeah, preteen.
10,
teens.
11, 12, 13, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I love the way she spaces it. This is so cool. I love the spacing.
Well, I like to read lots of white space.
Yeah.
I like.
It is, like most books are just. This gives you like a little break, then you keep going on and on. And did you decide the cover? I asked you.
My sister did it.
Your sister did.
My sister is a graphic designer.
Oh, you're
She
lucky.
lives up in Maine and
Oh, what part of Maine?
Bar Harbor.
I was born in South Portland.
Oh.
The small world, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, she's in Otter Creek right now.
Yeah.
But she worked in Bar Harbor.
Yeah.
And
How about Shrewsbury Library has a copy, and Sutton.
And
Is
Sutton.
Library open for
It is
browsing?
open again.
For browsing?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
You can go.
I think it was just this week. I drove by and I was thinking I have to call them because before they were putting books out on a table in a bag for you, and I saw the sign out. They've got a sandwich board. Come in and browse. So
Okay, that's great, because Upton is now
Are they
open. Westboro is for certain times during the day. Millbury, I'm not so sure about, but the more you get out, social media. There's nothing like meeting the author of a book. Now, and you know what? Like a tap knock, you have a choice. You could go in the back, have a nice big room. People could sit there and listen to you. It's your show, and then you sign in the back. And if someone feels too shy in the beginning, Tap Knock has it so that when you walk in the door, they have a nice table not too far from the cash register. So you sort of have a feeling of I don't have to do it, just stay here.
Mm-hmm.
And the books, and people will walk by. So that's an awfully nice, option.
mm-hmm.
Not
Just
everybody
chat
is,
with people.
they're not into talking about it yet. I can see this so many places, even the YWCA, the girls groups, all these type of things. And you know something? You're going to laugh, but senior centers, and why? Because they have grandchildren.
Yeah.
And they'll hear about your book, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm getting a copy because I got like an 11-year-old niece who loves this. Now, yours are all going to be based on history?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
That's amazing. A lot of work went into this, right? Research?
It did. A lot of research, yeah. So I became fascinated with Shae's Rebellion back before I thought about writing
Yeah.
a book. I happened to stumble on a book about it.
Mm-hmm.
At Sturbridge Village, they had a really nice bookstore. And I was just really interested in it. And then when I started thinking about time travel and what would I do, and I just was able to join those two together. So
Another good place you might try, he's going to be a guest on the show tomorrow. Mr. Casper's going to be on. He is the president of the Worcester Aquarium Society.
Oh.
And you go in there. You know where Salisbury Street is?
Yeah, I know where the building is. I've never been
so
in.
you can go in there, I guess when it opens, and you can, I'm going in there to track family because it was pretty prominent in Worcester. What I'm going to do is go in for that. I guess you could sit in and it's like a smorgasbord. You can look into history of what was going on, like in your future books, if you wanted to write about something during the history of Worcester. I mean, it's like the sky's the limit. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like fun.
a lot of original documents.
Yeah, definitely. And what I can do is I can send you his info. Maybe someday you can like to contact him, meet him, or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he'll walk you through the process. But we're talking with Lily Penter, and this is her first book. It's called Losing the Bubble, and it's book 1 of The Green Bough, a time travel tale. And there's a cute cat, and he is involved in this.
That's Pumpkin.
That's Pumpkin the cat.
Yes.
Is a big, this is just like our cat at home. Oh my God, the big alpha male cat, Ace. He's and he is the boss. That's it. And when he wants to be brushed, he'll go out to my husband, then he'll start running into the living room to the coffee table, assume the position, and wait.
Oh, really? He likes to be brushed?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's. So, is this the cat? Will be featured in all the different ones? That's
Yes, both in the present and in the past.
And in the past.
There will be a pumpkin. And there's, yes, I'm hinting there's some sort of connection with the time travel and the existence of a pumpkin everywhere.
Do you find it hard? It's early and it's understandable to get off the computer and actually go somewhere where the people are avidly listening to you in a little group.
Yes.
But that's okay. That's okay. You don't have to start that way. It's like I told you at Chatting Up. I'll just give you a nice table. You can sit there and people walk by and say, hello. Oh, what a cool book. See? Yeah. Oh, yeah. The more things open, the more that's going to be happening again.
Yeah.
I think you'll love it.
It'll be nice. Yeah.
Lily, again, if people want to reach you, maybe have you give a presentation where the kids are or whatever, and also where they can get your books.
Okay. I do have a Facebook page, just an author page, which is Lily Penter, author. It's on Facebook. And my email is lilypenter@outlook.com. And yeah, my book is available on Amazon. It is self-published through Amazon, which is a wonderful resource that Lisa introduced me to. So it's on Amazon and it is in some libraries. And hopefully as things open up, I'll be doing some book signings and I'll bring my book with me too.
You'll get out there. You
Yeah.
will. Oh, do you have, I always ask my authors, do you have a certain ratio of where your comfort zone, or are you willing to go out of Massachusetts and appear, or Rhode Island, or something like that?
Oh, sure.
But there's so
Sure.
many venues.
Sure. I love to get around. I've been kind of...
You know what you might love? The Hopedale Day in the Park is in September.
Okay.
And it's a yearly event. Of course, last year they couldn't do it, but with COVID. But you can set up there. It's extremely popular. It's right up the street, Hopedale.
Hopedale, yeah.
And it's
Right
big.
by-
It's in the big park. And I'm actually going to be there this year with my arts there. I only know one other author who's going to be present, but his is totally different than yours. Totally. You might think that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it sounds
It's
like
closed. All
fun.
you
So
have to
you,
do is-
like a flea market, you get a table? Or you,
Yeah, oh,
you
definitely.
sign up
It's
and...
only $40 for a table, and you can bring someone with you and share the table for 20 each, whatever you want to do. You get that, and you stay there, and you know, people go by, and I would always suggest to my authors, make a poster, maybe if you have an easel, and have this blown up so
Okay.
that when people walk by, they see it.
Catches their eye.
And in your case, a great big stuffed Morris cat. Probably could find them, around. And the cat immediately draws the kids. And the parents say, aha, let's look at this cat. Yep. And if you take someone with you, you can always, they can buy in the store, and you can walk around with your book and say, hi, my name's Lily Penter. Have you seen my book? You have to,
Yeah.
it takes time.
Yeah.
I've done that for my authors up in Danrisport. I'll take their book, and I'll walk around with hordes of people, and I'll say, just found the greatest book. Have you seen it? And they'll say, no. She's right down there on the right. It's how you set up your table. Not too
Yes.
hard. Just maybe
Yes.
find a big stuffed cat somewhere.
I actually have one. I thought of bringing him today.
Yeah.
I made one.
You made one.
I made one out of orange fleece.
Very good.
Fleece. And I just drew the lines on with a Sharpie.
Do you know anyone, or are you good at making like a doll figure of Hank?
That I'd be hopeless at.
Yeah, that's okay.
People are...
Yeah, okay. That's very
The cat is just like that cat. He's more of a silhouette. I can do that.
good. That is the title. I mean, this is a long book. That's
is.
great. Really, I mean, how many chapters do we have here? Oh, wait a minute. Before we talk about that, Lily Penter is also the author of the Two Guys series. What's
That's right.
that? I didn't know you
That's
had
right.
two other books.
Right, Two Guys are short stories. I belong to the Sutton Writing Group, and every year we put out an anthology of short stories or essays or whatever people want to write, poems, things
Yeah.
like that. So I wrote some Two Guys. Hold this up. This is the cover for.
Did you see that Poppy
my
zero
first-
in on that?
So,
Where can they get those books?
those are available on Amazon.
Okay.
As ebooks, as e-stories, because they're separate stories and there's not enough bulk to make
Yeah, there's
to
a
bind
one
a
and
book.
a two. And
There
they're
are
about
5
a dog
of them
and
now.
a cat, right?
Yes,
Okay.
this is Edie and Charlie,
Yeah?
and the stories are all about them and their adventures and their people.
Are they out in the bookstores too?
No.
No. They were
No.
your first.
I need to have, I think, 7 or 8 stories in order to have enough to bind into an actual physical book. So,
This is
as
good.
it would be just a pamphlet, really. So you can get the ebook. I think they're 99 cents on.
Did you hear about Enchanted Passages?
Yes, I did. I was
I'm
so sorry.
sad. I took a friend, and we went through and got what we could. You know, it was.
Yeah,
I wish you hadn't had to close it.
I do too.
It was adorable.
I wish I wish there was something we could have done to help.
I know that big dinosaur or dragon out front.
They worked so hard, and they had such wonderful selection of books. And I just loved the little. It's like a Warren, right? You go from room to room. You
Yeah.
kind of. Did I miss a room?
Kind of mystery.
It was-
What am I going to find around the corner? We even had like a tiny
Yeah.
cafe or
It was a
something.
wonderful store. I felt terrible.
This on the back of her book. I always to see if the author is brave enough to. This is a gorgeous picture of you.
Thank
My
you.
God, you are retired. This was the next thing I would find out. You're a retired software engineer,
Right.
native New Englander. When did you retire?
2 years ago. September. 2 years ago.
The second book in the series, The White Feather. That's going to be coming.
Yep.
You live in Massachusetts. Your husband, a Burmese mountain dog, and a spotted alley cat. You have 2 cats, though.
Now I have 2. When I wrote that, I only had the one.
2 grown children, and is fortunate enough to live only 3 miles from her delightfully perfect granddaughter.
Gracie.
Oh, that's good. I like it because some people forget to put. You could put it on the back or something like that. But I feel as a reader that I like to see the author's pictures. You know,
I do too.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why it's important, but I really like to see it.
Because especially if I like a book, I want to see her very often, like you do. You give a online thing, and I can write to them and say, "Wow, I really enjoyed your book."
Please do.
And they're happy. So you, Lily Penter, you are going to be, within a day or two, you're going to be all over YouTube. And you can, again, free, take it anywhere you want. That's part of the glory. Thank you for being with us, and I hope to see you again on your next book, right?
Yes.
That will be fun.
Yes. It should be fairly soon.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for
And tomorrow
inviting me.
we will see the gentleman who is the president of the American Antiquarium Society based in Worcester, and that's going to be interesting. So, we'll see you next time and be my guest.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems. Moving through the cloudless sky, heading out toward the moon.